Hello, America. I'm Pastor Mark Burns, and you are getting exclusive right here at the Essence Awards 2013. I'm so honored to have with me Bishop Noel Jones. Bishop, thank you,
It's
sir,
a
for
pleasure.
being on the Impact Network.
It's always a pleasure.
Bishop, we're going to cut to it because you just got finished preaching an amazing word to over 8,000 people. But what most people want to hear about, the preachers of LA. That promo just released on a major network. A lot of buzz is going on.
It's a lot of, well, it's expected to have a lot of buzz, lot of negative, a lot of positive, because people are generally like that. Anytime you're in a church environment, people are caught between their traditional concepts, and some are more liberal. And when a show like this comes out, based on what all other types of shows with that name, reality show, people get nervous who are very conservative. The more liberal are looking and hoping there's a message out of it. So it's a lot of buzz.
What do you think the experience? What do you think the reaction? Because there's one on the promo. We can only talk about the promo 'cause that's all we've
Yeah,
seen.
well, that's it.
The promo of you sitting down talking with the young lady, and it already seemed to be some type of a confrontation. How do you think that's going to the backlash, I could say, or the
Well, I think the confrontation, particularly the scene with Loretta and I think that that is a marvelous way of really talking about how people process their relationships, particularly when one person might have an end in mind that another person does not have. And I think that the whole back and forth scene was marvelous enough to get everybody's attention for them to begin to talk. Now, for those people who say the Lord say I'm their wife, if they see Loretta in the scene, they're going to feel like it's over, it's done. For those who think she's beautiful and think I should, you'll find that in that I should marry and stuff. You'll see all that in the show. But the whole point is, everybody has controversy in their lives. So for me to sit and talk to a beautiful young lady who's a partner of mine in business, for me to talk about what her expectations are and how she feels about me and whether I feel the same about her, hey, that's what life is about.
last question, Bishop, because we're going to keep you going. You believe wholeheartedly that because you're a bishop in the Lord's church, wholeheartedly you believe this would draw more people to Jesus Christ, or what it is you think you can only speak for you going to get out of this exposure.
Well, my original intention was not for this to be an evangelical tool. Very certainly not. My original intention was it to be a tool to help to bring the minds of Christian people to the place where they give some balance to who their pastors are and how they deal with their pastors. That was my intention. The only reason I signed up was to help to reduce the iconoclastic proclivities that church members have about their pastors, to the point where if they break any of the rules that the church members are breaking, they completely throw them away. It takes God 40, 50 years to put a man together, and he ends up in a divorce and he's no longer any good. It takes God 40, 50 years to put a man together, and he ends up taking a drink, having a car accident, and he's no longer any good. And yet still, Noah was a drunk. David was, I ask church members all the time, and you ask yours, do you still read the Psalms after you read 2 Samuel chapter 13? Does David still minister to you? Does he still touch your soul and your heart in any of the Psalms that he wrote after the deal with Bathsheba and Uriah? You tell me which pastor you know stole somebody's wife and had him killed. And yet still, if you ask any church member, does the Psalm still minister to you? They'll tell you yes. So now, how are you either a hypocrite or you don't believe the Bible beyond a book of mysticism that we read to our children? If you think that, if you look at it seriously, it could only be one of the two. The Bible ain't really serious, or you're a hypocrite. Because if you can still say David can minister to you after what he did, then please, I'm sure your pastor can minister to you if he had a divorce.
Bishop, what do you say to the Christian body, those that are looking at this whole thing as a negative connotation, the lavishness, the money, the resources, pastors living large, pimping pulpits, all of that people are saying. What do you say to that?
Let me tell you something. I grew up, my sister is Grace Jones. I grew up, when I got older, of course, and I hung with her a little bit, I know what lavish is. There is nothing on that you have seen so far that is lavish. Lavish is a 300-foot yacht with 2 helicopters on it. That's what lavish is. Lavish is 15-car garage with everything you can name up. I will agree that pastors, in general, make more money than their congregants. But it is not because healthy pastors are going after money. They preach, and one day they wake up and find, like I did, that I had something. I give away, my accountant said last year, I gave away $230,000. And all you got to do to check any pastor's income is check his income tax record. It's a public record. And you will find that we're not making as much money as you think. Take my cars, for instance. My Porsche is a 1980. 1980? My Ferrari is a 2000. My Range Rover is 203. All them old cars. Now, take the Porsche, take the Ferrari. I used to import gray cars. I used to buy 8, 9, 10 Mercedes when the dollar was bullish against the mark. So I used to import them. So I ain't paid but $187 a month for Mercedes-Benz. My Ferrari, I bought a wrecked Ferrari, fixed it, sold it, and bought the one I'm in. So when people see you rolling around, they don't know the background. I owned my first house at 19 before I ever got called to preach. I made $1 million when I was 21. And I wouldn't begin to tell you how my money flowed to the church. When I went to LA, the church was insolvent. You know, so people look at it, but they don't have the story. They don't know the story. They just see the glory. But at the end of the day, and I will tell you more than anybody, that it ain't about money. I preach at churches that most fellas wouldn't go to because they said, Jones, it's too small. And I love it. I just love it. I love what I do. Money is a byproduct.
Just listen, I wanted, because we got to get you out of here. You heard it exclusive right here on the only African-American owned and national Christian TV network, the Impact Network, exclusive with Bishop Noel Jones. You heard it directly from the man himself. Don't you dare touch that dial.
And watch the show.
Watch the show.
You got any problems, watch the show. It'll answer all the problems you want to have answered.
You heard it.
Women stopped looking good because I got saved, because they made me a bishop. They still look as pretty as they always have.
You heard it from the man himself. I'm Pastor Mark Burns. Don't you dare touch that dial. We'll be right back after this.